Hi, this is Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today's video is talking about all the movies I had seen from June to August. And I seen a lot. See, 8, 9, 10, 11 movies in 2.5 months. So I'm gonna talk about each one of the movies I have seen and to see how far I can get into them. Now, let's do the top one. Here we go. to to Hell and Back with a 1955 film with Audie Murphy, David Jensen. You got Jack Kelly. I think them are your 3 stars. Or your 3 stars I could remember off the back of this movie. And this was a documentary film kind of because not really a documentary film. It was like Audie Murphy life story come to life, and it was a war movie at the same time. But this had a lot of action in this film. This is a Blu-ray copy. If you saw my other video, I went from a VCR tape to DVD to Blu-ray, and this is a clear movie because the DVD wasn't as clear as this one was. This is widescreen, like I would like. And I think they put David Jensen's first movie. I'm thinking the first one I saw him in the '50s. Now David Jensen was The Fugitive and Harry O. So he was them two TV shows that he did, one in the '60s, one in the '70s, and what what more can you say about a war film? And I think this one was about America versus Germany, so it made it easier for what time period that was. Now our next one was a black and white movie, The Sign of the Cross. Now this was a long movie, but it went by fast. And this is a real good movie for 1932, and it's have a lot of violence in it and a lot of sex in it too. And you might, and there's like one or two new scenes in here that goes by real fast or you're not paying attention. Now in this one, you got see Frederick March, you got Charles Lumpton, Car. It's, I can't say the name. I'm not gonna try to say him. But you have a lot of good actors in here and actresses. And this is about the Roman versus the Christian people. And they have the Christians fight in the arena with EMOs and gladiators and stuff like that. And you probably remember this movie at a remake of a '54 film that was a remake of this one called, trying to see if I can see it. See, Quarto Vendes. And that had Robert Taylor in it. And the lady that did The King and I. But this is the original. This is a little better than the remake a little bit because it got more violence than the remake did. And this is the long version. So if you want to see the uncut version, watch it on Blu-ray, or if you find it on DVD, you can watch the uncut on that one too. Our next movie is 21 Hour at Luchin, however you say that word. Now, this is a real life kind of documentary movie. This is from 1976, but it takes place in 1972 at the Olympics in Germany, I think it was. Let's see, they tell me. Okay, they're not really telling me, but I think this happened in Germany. And a bunch of, let's see, I think a bunch of Jewish Olympic people got killed by, they got killed by Arabian terrorists. That what most of the movie was about. This happened back in 1972 also. And you have William Holden, you have Franco Nero. I think them were your two biggest ones. And you have Richard Bassart, who did the narration of Knight Rider. And all the beginning episodes, that was his voice in all the episodes. And he did the pilot episode of Knight Rider too. So this was a good movie. It's not that long. And you get both things in here too. You get the full screen TV version, and you get the widescreen theater version. I think they were both the same movie. This was a TV movie that got put to the theaters, so it might have that TV feel to it. And it must have made a lot of money because they didn't spend that much money to make a TV movie. And if you've seen any of these movies, either back then on the TV or back then at the theater, leave it in the comments. It'd be nice if anyone's seen these original movies back when they were brand new in a sense. I only saw these movies at repeats in the 80s and 90s on regular TV. And in the 2000s, when they would reprint all these things over again at repeats. And I had that movie on a DVD until I got rid of until I got rid of the DVD version. Now, Share Torbrook. This movie came out in 1967, and this is a Rock Hudson, George Papard film. And this was an action-packed film against the American versus the Germany. And this is another war film, like I said. And let's do two films at the same time then. And here's the remix. Raid on Rummets. Now this came out in 1971, and this is a remix of Torbrook from 1967. Now there is a original film of all this that came out in 1945, and I think that Desert Fox, and that's one with Jane Manson. So you get Rock Hudson, you get Richard Burton, and you get the original one from Jane Manson. So the original one is a black and white movie, and came came out either during the war or a little bit after the war, because the war ended in 1945. That movie came out in 1945, but I don't know if it came out when the war was still going on, or did it come out when the war had stopped? I don't have that movie at all. But these two films are real good, and they're kind of the same film. The only difference is this one is a little slower pace and everything, and they take a lot of scenes out of this movie to fill in the time. This is a TV movie that got made into a real movie at in other countries to watch it. I don't think we I don't think it came to us except for the TV. And then it came to us after the the European countries saw it. So it came late to our theaters, and it didn't make any money. This one flopped, but they tried their best to redo a great movie. Now, this one made a lot of money. The second remix. This one got remade two times. The last one just flopped in the 70s. Of course, in 1971, war films weren't going that great in a sense. You had Patton that did real good in 1970, but by 1971, I think war films were kind of out of date. People people were getting tired of war. But I seen both of these films, and I got both of them too. So I think watch Torbrook if you want a good action film. If you want to see what you can do when you take out stuff and put it into another film and add other new scenes into it, then watch this. In our next film, it's from the 60s. This is from 1960, see, 1961, 1963. That means this film got made in 1961 in Italy. Then it got released in 1963 to us. Now, this is a Hercules film. Hercules and the Captured Women. And you got Reg Parker. I think he was either the first Hercules guy or the second one because Steve Reed was the first one from the 50s, and then other people took over his spot. It was like a James Bond kind of thing. And it was a real, I can't say real action packed, but it was a real action adventure film. And then color, widescreen, and what can you say about a man? Let's see. Okay, this was Red Parker first Hercules film that it says back here, and he fights a dinosaur. On the back, you can see he fights this dinosaur thing, and he fights a lot of creatures in this one. So this is like a love story action adventure film when he tried to save a bunch of women from a dinosaur. And I'm glad it's widescreen because some of these movies, back when I was growing up, all these movies were in full screen, terrible color. Now the only way you can watch these films kind of is that full screen terrible color with no commercials. So it's nice when they release these things in widescreen so you can see the beautiful color and the way it was meant to be seen. So when I was little, these things used to come out during the late night hours, and they used to show a whole bunch of them things from midnight till midnight to 3. Now I just saw this movie this month, A Force of One, Chuck Norris' first major movie for America. Now he did what that one called? The Way of the Dragon, a Bruce Lee film, 1973, his first film, but that was kind of a Hong Kong film. It came out in Hong Kong first, and then it came to us second. Then he did a couple more Hong Kong films and stuff like that until '77 when he did Breaker Breaker at a young man. But this was his first action. This was kind of his first major action film in 1979, unless you count Good Guys Wear Black from 1978. Then that would be his first one. But then I don't know if it made any money. This one made a lot of money back in '79. And this is just him fighting a bunch of crooked cops. And this is widescreen. Now, the only thing about this movie is it was kind of grainy. It felt like you was watching a VCR tape on in widescreen. Now, I don't know if that's the way the movie was originally made, or did they take a VCR tape and clean it up, and that's how you got it. Not too sure. Of course, the DVD version is a little that is grainy, but it's still the same. So you got less grainy on the DVD version, and you get more grainy on here. But both versions have got that grain look to it. And I'm not mad about it. Just it'd be nice if you could clean it up somewhat, so it don't look like it came off a VCR tape or straight from the film from the theaters. And this is blonde hair Chuck Norris. And Chuck Norris went through kind of 3 stages of his life. This is Chuck Norris blonde with what mustache look. Because when he first came out, he was blonde with no mustache. Then he came out blonde with mustache. Then he came with brown hair and mustache. So he's still blonde hair in this one. He just got a mustache. And like I said, this is the action, well, not the action packed movie, but the slow action packed movie. not as fast as Good Guy Wear Black or Breaker Breaker. It's kind of as fast as The Way of the Dragon was in his first movie. Kind of slow pace until you got to the end of it, in the middle of it, when they had karate scenes. But the most movie was just Bruce Lee walking around and talking and trying to save his family business. Kind of the same speed. Here's another George Papard film, Newman Law. Now, this is an action-packed movie with George Papard and the black guy from Kojak. And it's kind of like Dirty Harry and you can say Dirty Harry and Death Wish and all the other 70 movies and TV show wrapped into one movie. You got George Papard who get kind of blacklisted off the force and he gets his revenge on the people that did it to him. And I think this is George Papard kind of first big action film for the 70s. And he's an old man in this one. I think he's 50 years old when he did this movie. And this is after his TV show that he did in the 70s, Check. This is after that movie, or after that TV show. And I don't know if he did any other TV shows in the 70s. He did a lot of movies that that did good and that flopped. He did a lot of crappy films in the 70s. And you have to wait a long time until you see him in the A team. So this is George Papard movie. Now I had this on a VCR tape, and it wasn't that good because the VCR tape was VCR tape. This looked 10 times better than the VCR tape I had, and this was 10 times cheaper than the VCR tape I had. So if you want an action film from 1974, here's one. If anyone's seen this one at the theaters when it first came out, leave it in the comments. Be nice to know if anyone's seen this movie originally, or if anyone's seen these movies. This movie came out on TV or any kind of format. See, we got Macho Callahan. Now, this is David Jensen' first first Western film, and this is his breakout from The Fugitive. And this came on in 1970, and he was trying to change his good guy sly image that he put that he always was in the 60s. And this is a violent movie. It got I think it got one nude scene in it. It got kind of sex scenes, but not as bad as they are nowadays. So he really did this. He really did come out and showed people that he could be a mean guy when he wants to be. This is a real good film too. It's fast paced. These things are dusty. It's like fast paced, and it slows up a little bit, but it's so fast paced. And this is widescreen and everything. This is from 1970. Now, I think after he did this film, he did the O'Hara U.S. Marshal or something like that when he was working for the government banks. I could be saying that title wrong, but I know it's O'Hara something. So this is before he did that TV show in 1971. So he didn't break away from his regular part, but he did do a good movie. And let's see who you got in this one. You got Lee J. Cobbs, and you got David Carradine. So you got the guy that did the Virginia, the judge on the Virginia, and Army and Flint guy. then he wouldn't do another good movie until The Exorcist. And you got David Carradine, the Kung Fu guy, and he did like Gunsmoke episodes. So this is a real good film if you can find it. I had this on the VCR tape, and this is clearer than the VCR tape was. A lot clearer. This is widescreen, so maybe even happier. Now we go back in Italy. Here's Samson. Let's see, Samson and the Seven Miracle of the Water. This is a Gordon Scott film. The guy that did Tarzan from the 50s and 60s. Okay, this is his first film, I'm thinking, of the Hercules, or Samson, because he did the last Tarzan film in 1960. This is a real good movie, too. This is action packed. This is a lot faster than the other Hercules film I showed you. Even though not Hercules, but it's so in that genre. And he doesn't do bad films. Gordon Scott. He looks the same. He just plays a different character. And I don't think he used his real voice in this movie. And this is just Samson going into China to save the people from a ruthless um, overlord who wanted to take over China and everything. And he takes everyone out. And there were no Roman guard in this film. No, it was a Chinese versus Chinese people. In our last film is the son of Samson. Now, that takes place in Egypt, and you got Mark Forrest, who plays Samson, of the son of Samson. And all this is just the evil Egypt people want to take control over the poor Egypt people. And Samson comes and defeat the evil Egypt people, save and bring everybody back to normal again. And this was a okay film. It was fast and slow. This is from 1960. This came out first before that Samson film came out. And these are the films I saw between June and August. I don't want to drop these films. Now, let's see. Now, we'll be watching more films, and I'll be doing them like this. And then, like, when I get done watching the more films, I'll be doing them like this also. It's easier talking about them at one time than trying to remember than talking them one at a time because you could get more movies this way out. And I'm not that good at making videos that much. I try to do everything I can while I can remember it. So if you've seen any of these movies on TV, theaters, VCR tapes, any way you saw them, and I would love to hear anyone who saw them when he first came out at the theater or they came to TV first in theater. That'd be even interesting too. So please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a groovy day. We have another video coming out real soon.